What's going on, Devoted Geeks? I'm Dallas, and with me is...
Slice!
And we're so glad you hit the play button today. Today, we have a very, very special set of guests on our show. We're super excited about it. And yes, that's guests with an S. Celeste, who are they?
They are Comic Talk616, and we are so excited that they are on. They regularly make us laugh.
They do. They are an amazing group of individuals. They have a podcast called Comic Talk616 where they give you all the latest news and updates on everything geeky happening around. These guys are just amazing. This episode, Geek Devotions, you're about to watch is true to life of their of their show that they do. So enjoy it, have fun, stick around to the very end because it gets interesting. So that being said, Comic Talk616, take it away.
We're trying to become a real dinosaur. Here comes the sequel.
Welcome to Geek Devotions with Comic Talk616. We're here to talk to you about the new film, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and how it relates to Christianity and morals and stuff and things.
Anyways, so Fallen Kingdom, good movie. You should go see it. You should check it out. If you haven't, go ahead and check out our review of Fallen Kingdom on Comic Talk616. But we will talk about that later because we're here to do a different job.
Let's plug.
Yeah. Do your job, Dallas. Put something right down here.
I feel like this is a shameful plug.
This is a shameful.
Anyways, Matt, why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about today regarding Fallen Kingdom with our Geeky Devotions?
Today we're going to relate that to burn stones.
We're gonna what?
We're going to relate the dinosaur, the raptor blue, to burn stones.
The burn stones?
The raptor blue burnt stones?
Yes.
Are you saying that raptors burnt stones?
So, okay, so we do have a... Let's go for a verse first.
Alright, yes. Our verse comes from Nehemiah 4:2.
That's in the Bible, boys and girls.
No. It is spelled Nehemiah 4:2.
That's how it's
For what?
That's how it's spelled.
Okay.
Anyways, so the word says, "And he spoke in the presence of his brothers and the wealthy men of Samaria, and said, What are these villagers doing? Are they going to restore it for themselves? Can they offer sacrifices? ? Can they finish in a day? Can they revive the stones from dusty rubbles, even the burned ones?"
What voice are you doing? You sound like a cross between like a Viking and a...
So,
something else.
That one's mine.
So, I'm doing the voice of Nehemiah.
So,
That's
we're
what
talking
Nehemiah
about...
sounded like.
Okay.
Because he was knee-high, So we're talking about burnt stones. They're referring to... Burnt stones in this is referring to people that have been burned, that have gone through trials and tribulations in their lives. They've really gone through it. They've gone through the fire, metaphorically. Where in this verse there's a priest and he's saying, can we really use all these stones? Can these actually be used? And the great thing is that they can be. That God uses things that are burned, things that have gone through fire and flame. He uses these things in our life to draw us to Him. He uses the burned stones. And this relates to Jurassic World because the dinosaur Blue has definitely been burned. Blue has now been in the wild, and Blue just doesn't want to trust people. And through this video we see Blue ends up trusting Owen and saving Owen in a part of the movie.
So, so in the film, as you see Blue essentially, in the first movie in Jurassic World, you see Blue basically being used as a weapon, as a hunting tool, right? When initially Blue had this relationship with Owen as a father figure and a mother figure, and then people come in, use Blue, and then she has this peace, and then again trial comes up for Blue, and is basically used and shot and wounded. And so throughout the process of this journey that you see within Blue's character, it's constant trial of these people who, the people are the trials of just being constantly used. And in the film, you see Blue having peace. So, yeah, Blue is a burnt stone.
Blue is a burnt stone. Somebody who's gone through trials and tribulations. Somebody that it might not, doesn't always look pretty on the outside, but the thing is that God doesn't always look on our outside, on our surface of how pretty we look, but He uses what we've gone through. He uses what
our inner beauty.
First Samuel 16 says, "Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart."
So for those of you who are watching the Geek Devotions, maybe you're going through something yourself, or you're going through a trial or a tribulation, and you're asking yourself, okay, how can God use this? How can God really use me in this situation? What I can tell you personally, both from outward appearance, as well as the things that I've gone through, that the Lord really will use you like a burnt stone, and He will put you in a position of power and of peace, much like where they took the burnt stones to rebuild the temple. So regardless of what you're going through or what your trial or tribulation is, there is a plan of beauty that is set for you, and you will be a part of the temple. You will be part of the church. You just have to trust that the Lord, that God has that purpose set for you.
Because God writes beautiful stories.
Maybe you've given up. Maybe you've given up on God. Maybe you've given up on Christianity. But the message is that you can come back. Is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your current state is. God still has a plan for you.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done. I mean, some of the greatest people, that God used in biblical times were murderers. And
perfect example is
in their past.
Is Paul. Paul is probably the perfect example of a burnt stone.
Yeah.
Right? The Apostle Paul is the prime example of burnt stone. We're talking about a guy who was basically Jewish Hitler. Right? His whole purpose was bent on destroying. His purpose was to wipe
out
Christianity. He wanted to create a spiritual genocide of anyone and anything that followed the name of Jesus Christ. Going with that, with where Paul's come from, he was this burnt stone, right? He was cursed, he had a dirty past, he had these scars, he had all this stuff that was covering him, that if you were to, today, if Paul were to come into a church, you'd be like, this guy's a murderer, he's a racist, he boiled people alive, like he tortured people, like this guy's not someone we want to let into our church. Look at him, right?
And to be fair, they did that to him at first too.
Yeah, and so, but then he wrote probably some of the most important books and most influential doctrines for the church today. So, read the prison epistles. You want to know what a successful burnt stone can be through Jesus. Read and study Paul. Learn to buy him. And again, go back to Nehemiah 4:12, right? Just because the stones are burnt, just because you've been burnt, just because you've been damaged and hurt and crushed and beaten down and scarred, doesn't mean you can't be used. In fact, if anything, it equips you more to be used, right? Your scars, they tell a story. Your marks, they tell a story. Your trials, your tribulation, your hurt, they tell a story. Much like how Blue had a story arc within Fallen Kingdom, right? There was so much going on in that movie, but the connection between Owen and Blue, and her Blue's connection between her and people, they told a story, right? Despite her scars, despite the lies, and her being used and abused by people, Blue was still able to overcome that step up to the plate, to be the hero and own and totally take out the Endoraptor. You know, she Mike Tyson'd him for sure.
She did more than Mike Tyson.
She Muhammad Ali.
No, what was it? She
like-
300 him basically.
This is Sparta time.
Or
You know,
Yeah.
talking about The Rock, she was
Yeah.
The Rock, and she smelled what was cooking, and it was Endoraptor guts.
it was total people's elbow after being pile driven into the, what was it, Triceratops horns? or
Yeah,
something?
just the top.
It was good stuff.
That's
Spoilers! That's the guts coming out.
That was landing? Did we land there?
that was gross.
Hey,
So, yeah. Any final thoughts on this Geek Devotion?
So, yeah,
for
like,
Nehemiah
no matter-
4-2.
no matter how burned you are, how much of a burnstone you are, you know, Chris Pratt actually said it really well in his acceptance speech for the MTV Awards?
Yeah.
Like, basically, I don't remember the exact quote, but all of our sin and past has been washed by
By blood.
blood.
So yeah, there is your Geek Devotion. Look up Nehemiah 4:12. Recommended versions would be NLT, NIV, and ESV. So yeah, go ahead and check those out. Go see Fallen Kingdom. Thank you again, Geek Devotions, for allowing us to do so. Go ahead and tickle the like button and subscribe button. And Facebook.
Hug that subscribe button and tell it loves you.
How about you Velociraptor kick
Do
it?
we need to ask Dallas about spoilers?
No.
We totally spoiled.
Nope, we're good.
Spoiled!
I'm done now.
So once again, thank you for tuning in. We're out.